Hey everyone. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that Ellie and I recorded this episode in a different location, which was a bit echoey. And I think the mic settings were not right. So the audio is a little off. Also, we had to take a break midway to do a photo shoot. So we were a little tipsy for the second part of the pod. I hope it's not too annoying, but now on to the pod. Welcome to Seriously, the podcast that dives into the baffling.
We can't send them to a prison where there's animals, where there's livestock.
The ridiculous.
Like omelets better than sex.
And downright unbelievable political climate in red states like Louisiana.
So we can't go there. There's no vegan jail.
Seriously.
Welcome to Seriously. We're your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ellie.
And we're in a different space. We are at the Lift Louisiana office today.
Which is pretty fabulous.
First time here. Yeah. So this week was not as busy, luckily, as the past couple of weeks have been. So I had some time to do some research. So I've got some real good stuff for you coming up later.
But I have not had some time to do some research, so that's good. I do have Seriously, which is related to why I haven't had time to do some research, which is that I am seriously starting my own law firm, launching my own law firm this week, effective May 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Shilling Litigation. It's been, a long time coming, but I'm excited about it, nervous about it. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
So by the time folks hear this, within like a day or two, then the new firm will be operational. And we do, in addition to, of course, what all of these folks know about me, with reproductive rights litigation and legislative advocacy, then I also, over many years have done lots of other healthcare litigation, disciplinary proceedings for doctors against LSBME, LVH, hospitals, all that sort of stuff. School disciplinary proceedings. If your kid gets in trouble, you can call me, particularly at the university level or graduate school, but also like K through 12. And then just a lot of complex business litigation. So
Very
thumbs up. Yes. My only other Seriously is just about fucking drivers in New Orleans when lots of people are in from out of town.
Oh my
It's
God.
In fairness, it's hard driving around New Orleans anyway.
Mhm.
The roads are a disaster. You have to basically know exactly the road. Like where the potholes are, where the pavement's super uneven, where like traffic weirdly gets bottlenecked because like it doesn't make sense and people don't know, where they're supposed to turn or whatever. So that's always true. Like I could pretty much like close my eyes and like by memory, like the streets that I normally drive, be like, and then you get in the right lane, the left lane, then you get the right lane, like whatever. Then when people are in from out of town, which of course it's Jazzfest right now, which another Seriously being that I am not at Jazzfest, which my friends, including Caitlin, are like apoplectic about because Stevie Nicks is playing.
Perfect.
There were a bunch of texts about this last night when I told her there was a 0% chance that I was coming.
Yeah. It's just not happening this year.
It's not happening today.
Yeah.
But yes, the impending launch of the new firm is not happening today. So then just trying to get here, like with all these people in from out of town, it's just like every license plate is an out of town plate, which thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for contributing to the local economy.
Correct.
But please learn how to drive, please. Or just give yourself a lot of time and get out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple. So one is that Fox News had some coverage, I think this week, about the teen birth rate declining in the country. And
Do they consider that good news or bad news?
I'm going to play you a little clip of what Fox News is saying about this because it's kind of crazy.
We still have 3.6 million births a year, but the problem is teens and young adults. From ages 15 to 19, the fertility rate is down 7%, and it's down 70% over the last 2 decades, meaning we're telling people that are young not to have babies, to wait till they're in a more stable life situation, till they're more financially secure. Maybe they haven't found the right partner.
15 to, I know, that's what I was just gonna say. Like telling the 15 to 19. Who was that? Some religious pastor or some shit?
Yeah, so who knows? Yeah, I don't even know.
The problem is, like, oh my God.
The problem is 15 to 19-year-olds aren't having babies.
Why should we not be telling them to wait until they're in a more stable financial position or maybe have the right partner, which was, I think, the exact words about what we're telling people. I mean, that is just misogyny at its core and just like baked in like old school fucking religious shit. Yeah. That like women are good for one thing and that they need to be kept down. Yeah. Right. Because why otherwise would you not want women, the people who are birthing these children, to wait till they have a better partner and are in a stronger financial position? So meaning that you might be able to be independent financially, and also you might not end up in like an abusive and really bad relationship.
Well, that is not the message that's being pushed on Fox, because they kept talking about it. So there's a whole other segment of a different show. The Fox and Friends.
Oh, yeah. Assholes. Oh, Trump loves that. Yeah. Because it's like, it's anti-reality often, or with things that are very bad for Trump, that are huge things in the news where there's just nothing about it at all. I find interesting. Right. There's just zero coverage of it, which might be like what they're doing here, right? Yeah. Like, can't cover any actual news because it's all really, really bad. Well, so let's talk about something that unites the right. That very, very young, meaning teenage children, women can have more kids. Yeah.
Well, the birth rate is declining overall, but the problem is the 15 to 19-year-olds. However,
it is an easy time to get pregnant, as many people can tell you.
So the Fox and Friends people decided to look at this from the impact that the falling birth rate is having on the economy. So let's listen to this.
Patricia Onwuka is a senior policy analyst with the Independent Women's Forum, and she joins us now to weigh in. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you both.
Why is this? Why are we seeing the rates go down?
Well, I think you're seeing, number one, a change in norms. So women are considering when, how, and even if they want to give birth. On the positive side, we have more educated women. 40% of women are graduating with college degrees, which is great. But it also means that they're going to delay when they have children. And the later you wait means the fewer children you're able to have. And unfortunately, I think the latest trend we're seeing is the question of whether women should even have children. I think we heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ask, is it even ethical for young people to be talking about having children because of climate change? And so she's basing that on some sort of faulty United Nations statistic. But, all of these trends working together, I think, is leading to, lower birth rates, which could have devastating economic impacts in the future. Our workforce is going to be shrinking and will not be able to sustain the number of retirees we have in the future.
Now, let me ask some. I know that they're in China, they have limitations, for births in other countries. Yeah. Could you ever see a national movement towards expanding families and attacking this problem? Could that something to be talked about from Washington?
I hope so. I mean, I think we should be a nation that is encouraging people to have families.
So he's saying, which, I mean, obviously, first of all, that's not even true in China anymore, but whatever, historically it was. And, it was obviously like an anti-human rights campaign. Yes. Perpetrated by the government. But he's saying, could you ever see there being a policy in the United States that people have to have children?
Well, I mean, I think that's what abortion bans are, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he might mean something more explicit, not just sort of
like where they say the quiet part.
You have to have two children. Yeah. Actually 3. Yeah. I mean, if replacement is 2, I mean, this is true throughout the Western world, and it's been true for a long time that birth rates are declining. And actually the research is really interesting, newer research that most people thought that it was just basically attributable to things like not having enough paid family leave, which is a contributing factor, particularly here, not having good health care, all of that. But actually in Scandinavian countries and places like that have all that stuff, then birth rates are still declining. So researchers are trying to figure it out. But one theory, which I think makes a lot of sense, is that even when you have that stuff in place, the deep-seated traditional like values shit between the man and woman in the relationship is very entrenched. And so like the sort of just entrenched misogyny in like world culture, like even makes in situations where the government is supporting good policies, it still makes women feel like, yeah, but like I'm still gonna have to fucking do everything. That's like I'm not having more children, or maybe I'm not having any. Yeah. 100%. But then the flip side, of course, is that what you do then, I mean, you should be doing this anyway, is you encourage immigration. That's the other way that that your country has people, so that then as, people age, there's enough people to be earning money. So I'm assuming that they didn't talk about that. That's like a very, very obvious and normal way of dealing with how do we get more people to live in our country
and contribute economically.
Yes. So that as people age out, need to be, tapping into Social Security, whatever other people are paying it.
They don't, those aren't the babies they want.
Yeah. I mean, it does put us in a double bind though. Yeah. This is the first year ever in American history that we are net negative with immigration. Wow. Like that generally is considered a sign of a failing country. I mean, we've done it on purpose.
So many signs.
So I know. Failing. I mean, normally I think that comes about more when it's happened sort of naturally. Like people just don't want to fucking live here. Like we're actually throwing people out. But in general, that makes then people not want to come. I mean, it's counterintuitive. It's very bad for the economy. So maybe they should talk about that. Now, this is trying to make 15-year-olds have kids and the government playing a role in that.
My God. Anyway, these people are fucking idiots.
I know in my own life, I'm sure it's true for you. Like the kinds of people who watch Fox News range from, just fully indoctrinated and absolutely deranged to just like the casual Republican or the staunch Republican who's just a moderate who basically is just used to watching Fox all their life, but isn't like a crazy person or an overly bad person. Like, what do those people think?
Do those people still watch Fox? I don't know. I really don't know what's making up their ratings these days.
That's good, seriously.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is a good news story, and I don't know that much about it because this is not what I spent my time researching this week, but I think that it rhymes with what we're going to talk about later. Okay. Virginia voters.
Yeah.
They approved a map that gives Democrats the chance to net as many as 4 more seats.
And they 10, 1, or 9, too.
Yeah. So the map gives the Democrats an electoral advantage in 10 of the state's 11 House districts. Right now, they control 6 seats. So this would take them to 10. I mean, the Republicans brought this on.
They did, yeah. And there's been a lot of hand-wringing. There was a lot of hand-wringing in Virginia about this because, I mean, they were one of the states, of course, that had moved to have an independent commission to draw lines, which, like, I think anybody who's being honest from a policy standpoint, that is the better way. Yeah. Just, in a vacuum. But so there's been a lot of hand-wringing about, like, should states like Virginia really be doing this? And aren't the Democrats just being as bad as the Republicans? And doesn't that leave you with no moral high ground? And like, maybe. I mean, I'm not gonna dispute that point, but I'm also like, whatever, like, fuck off, Yes, we are in like an existential crisis, absolutely existential crisis in this country right now. And while the Republicans are taking active measures like they did in Texas to try to entrench that existential crisis, so like that it is almost guaranteed to destroy this country. Yeah. So like, no, I mean, sometimes, like drastic times call for drastic measures. I'm really just kind of a little bit tired of all the hand wringing and the yap about should the Democrats really be doing this? Like, they should.
And also the way that they did it in Virginia is completely different than how they were doing it in Texas. Texas was never going to let the people vote on this.
Right.
And this went to the people.
Well, same with California. And with both of them, it's temporary. Yeah. And that one is important. Politicians knew for the public that was an important selling point, that like, we're not just saying that, like, all that stuff we've been claiming about how gerrymandering is bad. We're not giving up on that. Yeah. We're saying that, like, right now, that has to come as a secondary issue. Yeah.
Well, the part about this story that rhymes is that a judge quickly stepped in to bar the certification of this result. You know, the state's attorney general is obviously going to appeal it, and I think ultimately they'll prevail, and this map will go into effect. But
I mean, so there's a referendum. There was the referendum was challenged in court.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not totally surprising. I mean, like, again, it's like the same as the litigation here about how maps are drawn. Although this one is very political. And as we know, the Supreme Court has said that that's totally fine.
Yeah. Totally fine.
I mean, that just also to me goes back to, again, with we didn't start it. And I know that that's like a childish argument. I'm also a tactician and a strategist. And sometimes there's real like need for, okay, we didn't start it, but we have to respond.
Yeah.
But like the point being that it is putting everything into chaos. You know, I mean, like there were challenges in Texas and the challenges in California both failed.
Right.
So I mean, this one, I guess, likely will too. I don't know. I mean, the facts are always specific, but like when Trump went down this fucking road, you know, with goddamn Governor Abbott, of course, in Texas, then yeah, I mean, it's obvious that chaos is going to ensue. Other than maybe it wasn't to Trump, because just like in terms of things that rhyme, then he thinks that he can provoke a fight with anybody and that there won't be consequences. Right. Yes. Yeah. And as we're seeing on the international stage also, like, that's not true. Right. Sometimes when you provoke a fight with somebody that was like, you didn't need to do, you know, kind of came out of nowhere. You just like all of a sudden started to fight. Yeah. Against people who you don't like and you've got issues with, but don't assume that they're not going to retaliate in kind.
Yeah. And let this just be another lesson in the myriad of lessons that letting Trump lead you down any path is towards your own destruction.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah. People that, I mean, it's amazing to me, honestly. I mean, as we've talked about before, every single politician that has ever, I mean, at least in terms of in the administration, that has ever gone in with him, you know, been in bed with him, has left disgrace, irrelevant, and a joke. Yeah. Hated or a joke, or both. Yeah. Like, there's not really any exceptions to that. And yet the Republican Party remains not just beholden to him, but like a cult. I mean, really like a cult. And I get it that, you know, they think voters like him, although all that's sort of questionable and getting more so. But I don't know, like we have many, many years of precedent at this point. Check out the evidence, folks. How did that work out for, I don't know, anybody?
Right. So as I mentioned, things were not that busy. Last week, we were going to talk about this Charlie Kirk.
Successive sequencing act, right? Or is it sequencing success? I don't think it's success sequence.
It's sequence.
Sequencing. Success sequencing. Or something like that, right?
All right. Well,
it's what you need, the sequence that you need to do things in order to get.
I think it's called the sequence act. Glitter out.
Glitter is my real secret.
He's got some Lindsey Graham. He does. Okay. Well, anyway, we were going to talk about this last week, but you had shit to do. So, this is the bill that requires schools to teach students that they should graduate from high school, get a job, and get married before having children. And they have named this the Charlie Kirk Success Sequencing Act. And we're going to find out why when we listen to this, because there was some pushback and
about the naming. Yeah.
Yes.
Which, I mean, on the substance, as you and I've talked about, I mean, some of it I'm like, that, yeah, people should graduate from high school and get a job before having children. That's not bad advice, you know. The getting married part, I think is very religious. I mean, it's from Rick Edmonds, so I don't support that part at all. You know, that the government is teaching people. But yeah, why it's named the Charlie Kirk anything is Who the fuck knows?
The people that came to support this bill were this woman from the Pelican Institute, who I think her son was with her, but he is a high school student, I think, or no, college student, and he's like the president of his school's chapter of Turning. What is
Yeah,
this? Yeah, Turning Point. Anyway, so they were there to testify in support of it. I don't have a lot of the Hitler Youth guy in this, because who the fuck cares what he has to say? All right, so let's listen, and you can stop whenever you need to say something.
Senate Bill 269 creates the Charlie Kirk Success Sequence Act. It requires schools to provide students with information about the success sequence. It was noted as a part of existing preventive education or high school programs of study. It teaches students that completing school, entering the workforce, marrying before having children are associated with lower rates of poverty, etc. It's an effort to another effort to work with our families and whatnot.
Wait, just for 1 second. So this is Rick Edmonds' bill. So I like it that he's like and what, Mom? He's very yada about his own bill. He's also doing it from the dais, which is not very common, like rather than going to the table. And he's the chairman of this committee. Yes. But normally then the vice chair comes to that seat and you go, like any other lawmaker to sit in the chair at the table. So I don't know if they were short on folks at the time, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's not good for how, like power dynamics on the committee, right? Like if you're sitting in the chairman's role and just like announcing your own bill. That's okay.
I'll tell you why I think that he chose to do that.
The vice didn't want to sit with the shy hit. Oh,
the vice chair of the committee is Katrina.
so she was not happy about some things with this bill. So there wasn't somebody in line who was willing to introduce her, maybe not to introduce it in a non-hostile way. Interesting.
I don't think he wanted to turn control over the committee to her.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's interesting. And again, why you're not supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. You have a bill just like anybody else. So yeah, it just so happens that you're in the chair. Correct.
Yes. You're in the wrong chair.
Yes.
All right. So this is Erin Blah. I think she's from the Pelican Institute. Anyway, she's talking about, the merits of this. Okay.
The research is just, overwhelming that if you finish high school, meaning that you get your high school diploma or a GED, if you enter the workforce full time, either immediately after high school or after a post-secondary education, and then you get married before having children, your chances of not being in poverty are 97%. And so all this bill does is it requires that our schools, both our public schools and our non-public schools, simply provide this research to students.
I mean, I'm not a Charlie Kirk expert. I assume you're not either. So, I mean, I can't speak to, in depth what it was that he was going around to colleges saying. I mean, my impression from, lots of people who are experts on him and people like at the board, people on the right and follow this stuff is that, the point of it was really about obviously bringing on people for the right-wing movement and confronting people, creating dialogue, but really altercations, basically, with the left, forums for discussion / heated debate, basically. Yeah. And of course they were pushing very traditional values. So I'm sure that some of this is true. But do you have any idea how much is accurate about this? About what?
Yeah, I'm not a Charlie Kirk expert either, but what I guess I kind of understand about what he was talking about is that he did have this agenda to reach young men and try to convince them that that they need to meet the love of their life and get married and have children, and that is what they were supposed to do. That is the dominion of men, and that is the most important thing. And they need to be, good providers for their family and all of this. So this is why we now have an entire generation of men that believe this. Yeah. But then the young women in Gen Z or the younger millennials are no, I don't want that.
2 points on that. Yeah. I mean, I was just talking to my sister about this. I mean, the the research is like, it is crazy and it is very disturbing about like the number of young men in like, it's like the 21 to 35 range or whatever that think that a woman's place is in the home.
It's because of
it is. I mean, and it's like barely not a majority.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 40%.
Yeah.
And it's really, really crazy. I mean, and just really regressive.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is, and I have heard this from like, very good sources again, like people sort of in the right, that all the turning points messaging, of course, for women, though, was about being in the home. But it's being told, this is why it's the huge irony with Erica Kirk to begin with, is it's like they would have people like Erica Kirk and like Megyn Kelly, people like that, like very accomplished career women
outside the house
on stage talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was apparently very alienating to even conservative women. Those were lots of people in that, like, who are conservative young women. So not even people like we're talking about, but like, like just regular Gen Z women who are like, what the fuck? Like, what is any of this?
Yeah.
Talking about people who like are naturally conservative women and they're like, oh, great, turning point is coming. Like, this is supposed to be, organization that's like really like, empowering conservatives, yada, yada. And, this person speaking, like wanted to go for like empowerment and like career advice and networking. And then like, their reaction was like, all we were being told from the stage, including from women who have not done this themselves at all, is that we should not focus on our careers. We should focus on having children and staying at home.
Why is it named after Charlie Kirk?
I followed Charlie's life and his work, and certainly as my high school son did. This was the topic. A lot of times he may have used different language, but this is the very thing that Charlie spoke to a lot of young people about at college campuses across the country, about the fact that, marriage is important. Finishing school is important. Getting a job, providing for your family, all of these things matter. And so in his honor, we believe that it was fitting to name this after him and after the legacy he left behind to help our young people.
I totally agree, but everybody thinks highly of Charlie Kirk.
Definitely.
Myself. Yeah, that is wrong.
That is, yeah. I mean, I don't think it was okay that he was gunned down, as we've talked about, but I do not think highly of him in the slightest. No.
As she will learn, her colleagues on this fucking committee did not think highly of him.
Yeah.
I just didn't get the connection, like what, because this is basically just make good choices.
Senator Andrews for a question.
We are pro-family, we are, pro-marriage state, but then with giving a name such as this, when our university students have voted not to put up statues, Mr. Kirk and other things, the debate on him has been very controversial on our college campuses. I want to be very clear because I speak very pointedly. Charlie Kirk death should not have occurred. Neither should Dr. Martin Luther King's death.
Okay. Katrina was almost there.
Yeah.
She was almost there. But even saying neither should.
No, right. These are not equivalent. I mean,
exactly. Why are you equalizing MLK with Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, I don't know why she thought.
Because she's done. She's done. Okay.
It's true. I mean, yeah, she was
close.
Yeah, she thought that was somehow qualifying. I don't know. Like, by saying what she said to begin with, that he shouldn't have been killed, which is moving into, just as I did, her criticisms of him, that's enough of a qualification.
Exactly.
This is my opinion. Obviously, is my bill. In the last, I don't know how many decades, but it's particularly the last 20 years, I can't think of anyone that's had the type of impact on students on our campuses and in our cities as Charlie Kirk.
I'm sorry. Did he miss Barack Obama?
That's right. That's true. I know. I actually wasn't, no one came to mind immediately, but I was like, I don't mean that. I dispute that. Without having a chance to give it any thought. I mean, first of all, he was only influential to like a very specific group of folks. I mean, like If I
Those are the only ones that matter to Ed.
They're the only ones that everyone that he knows exists. Right. Like this is like we all are in sort of our own echo chambers, like granted at this point, which is not good.
Yeah.
Although I know at least that this is happening. He apparently doesn't know that like not everyone, obviously. I mean, I have no idea what the percentage of people, even at like a school like LSU, would have been that went to see Charlie Kirk. It's going to be a tiny minority of the school population, just like undoubtedly, like these are huge schools.
I don't think there's any question of the echoing of what occurred in the lives of students. And now we saw this amazing movement that's undeniable. Now, in any movement, and you mentioned Dr. Martin Luther King, and we've named streets and statues and everything, but his life was not without some level of controversy.
Shut the phone.
Yeah. I thought it has been real stuff to find out.
We don't
I
even
mean, she brought it on herself by bringing him up because, like, I don't think anyone would have naturally brought him into this conversation. And if somebody like Rick Edmonds had, I mean, the racism of that would have just been like, what is happening? So yeah, that she brought that on herself. But yeah, Dr. Martin Luther King's message was not divisive and controversial.
And I think that what we've seen in the life and death of Charlie Kirk is one of those that's been one of those unbelievably brilliant minds.
What I disagree with is naming it after a political figure that most African American students throughout our state have voiced their opinion. Let me get more pointed with this, have voiced their opinion that they feel like his statements were racist toward them.
Senator Bartholomew.
I would be careful when we're looking at a bill that is a blanket bill. It does affect all students, that we don't force upon all students the idea that this person represents success and a path that they should follow. His success was found by insulting people, insulting communities, being derogatory to specific groups of people that did not think like he thought and did not look like he looked. And we take objection to hoisting the image of that sort of person up.
Yeah, preach. Because and as we know, I mean, that's not just on a race level. It was also like, true with the LGBTQ community. It's true for women, as we've talked about. I mean, with women, it was more subtle, of course. With the racism and like the anti-gay, anti-trans part, and it was just like, I mean, that was the message.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, I have a lot of questions just about how this would be implemented anyway. It's being mandated then of like all schools, like, how is this going to work? Like, what is this going to look like? But yeah, like this guy was not just controversial, like a lot of what he's like, meaning that not everybody liked it. Yeah.
I mean, he was like a racist, misogynist.
It is intentionally offensive, not just like, my message might not be well received by all. That's what I meant earlier about that. Like, I think a lot of the whole point of him, and all of the whole point of Turning Points was to be confrontational in, going places to confront people.
Well,
Did Rick ever, did he like get it ever at any point? Was it like that there was no like, just like shit, I hadn't really thought about.
No, but let me tell you what ended up happening. So I actually was in the committee hearing, and this was the last bill of the day. I didn't think that I was going to testify. I did end up going to the table because I had kind of sketched out some things that I wanted to say about it from the perspective of
parents. That's another thing that bothers me about this is that it's very, very values based.
Yeah.
Not just like how they're sort of, framing it that this is just, like the things that one should do, just like good advice, or practical skills. Like it's very, very values based in a way that families should be able to talk to their children about. It's really not the school's place to do so.
Well, yeah. And it also is very dismissive of the various compilations of families that exist.
Obviously.
There was a lot of action happening regarding the bills by Jay Morris that we have previously talked about to remove judges in New Orleans and to eliminate the criminal clerk position entirely. Okay. This would disenfranchise not only Calvin Duncan, who was elected to that position, but also 68% of the voters in New Orleans who elected him to that position. And I know that Jay Morris has there's several bills that he's introduced, but I want to
You mean on this topic?
Yes.
but I want to focus on the two. So, Senate Bill 217, which is about the judges, and then Senate Bill 256, which is about the clerk's office. Just so that we can update folks on what's
And both of them are moving.
Yes.
Yeah. Like they're getting passed.
Yes.
Yeah. So people are clear on that.
Yes.
So the bill about removing judges from New Orleans, which is SB 217, it was voted out of committee on March 31st and then was on the floor for final passage like a week later.
In the Senate.
Senator Duplessis slowed it down so that it wasn't actually passed in the Senate until the 20th of April. And now it's going to be heard in the House Judiciary Committee. It hasn't been scheduled, but that's the next step, right? Senate Bill 256, which is the one that would remove the criminal clerk of court position entirely.
And consolidate the two.
That's moving at lightning speed.
Yeah, I think it's already in the House, right?
Yeah. So it got out of the Senate committee on the same day, March 31st. It passed the Senate floor on the 8th of April. It was put on the schedule for House Judiciary and was heard on April 16th. And then it was rushed to the House floor on the 23rd this week, where it passed.
Yeah, I heard a little bit on the news. I mean, so that one's basically done. In other words, I think there are amendments. It has to go back on concurrence.
It does.
Okay.
The whole point of rushing this is that they're trying to get the governor to sign it so that it takes effect.
Oh, Calvin Duncan takes the office.
That's right.
That's because they're going to have a lot more legal challenges after that.
Well, because the expiration of the prior clerk is next week. So they're trying to get this done before that happens. You can't remove a sitting person like who has already been sworn in, right?
Well, so I did, just as a lawyer, then what comes to mind, like, I didn't know that, but that makes sense. But just you have a vested right once you have a license, as opposed to when you are applying for a license.
Right.
Your rights are very, very different if you already have the license. So same thing if you already have the office. Your rights are vested at that point.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly. It's
I would argue
intuitive. It's
he was
intuitive.
elected.
Oh, yeah.
He has the office, but
I'm sure that
He
will be
hasn't-
argued. The rest of it is just ministerial.
Right.
a lot of stuff has been happening. It's been very interesting to watch this whole process play out, because to try to get ahead of that, they swore Calvin Duncan in this week.
Nice. Yep.
But Morris is now claiming that that was like ceremonial. It was a ceremonial swearing in, that it doesn't count.
Yeah, there will be a lot of litigation over this, is my guess. And things like I just said, like, is it really just ministerial, which means it's just like a bunch of stupid little tasks that have to happen, but like the thing has already happened. The election, you already elected, what's ceremonial, what's official, I mean, this is so important that, we're going to need to have all sorts of litigation over this. That's
there's
inevitable.
Gonna be a ton of litigation.
I mean, there's only probably going to be one suit, but it'll be.
So Senator Duplessis in the Senate, and then when it was in the House side, Representative Kyle Green, who is the
head of the Democratic Party now, right?
Yeah. He's head of the Democratic caucus in the House.
Sorry,
Both of them tried to amend the bill so that they would change the effective date so that it would be after the first term of Mr. Duncan's, so that he could at least fulfill that term that the voters elected him to.
Seems fair, actually.
It does seem fair. Yeah, those failed.
Yeah.
In both the Senate and the House.
That's interesting. I mean, which again, it might have to do with the vesting sort of thing. But, like that there have been two clerk's offices for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't an emergency that like it needs to be
not an
consolidated immediately. So yes, just like let the guy serve his term.
No, Morris would not allow that to happen. Senator Duplessis introduced that amendment. He got to like personally object.
Right.
He was like, we need to get this done. You know, we don't need to wait. I mean, literally no substantive argument as to why we couldn't just wait to let the person that
Who is duly elected. Yeah.
by 68% of the electorate in
I'm just always curious with people like, are you just being an asshole or do you have a strategy that
No.
you don't want to say out loud? Because sometimes I have a strategy I don't want to say out loud. That's for sure. You know,
I think it's just he's being an asshole.
I think it's probably all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to play a little bit of what Senator Royce Duplessis said on the Senate floor. This was actually during the debate on the SB 217, the removal of the judges, but I think the sentiment kind of applies to both. Okay.
I just want to sort of reset for people how wild this is.
This
You know,
is
like
insane.
again, that like, I mean, you know, there's no buy-in from folks on the ground, you know, elected officials, voters, anybody. And that like this is not just, you know, being proposed, it's being like rammed through. Like why? Like why is this being rammed through?
Why do we need to do this immediately?
Why do we need to do it at all? I mean, like, you know, again, there are arguments for why there's more efficiency with having those clerks' offices consolidated, and that in most courts in the state they are consolidated. Okay, all right, you've got your argument. But when everybody who's local is against it, why are you pushing this through? And why are you doing it on some sort of like supposedly urgent basis? It's all just total bullshit.
There is a process in which if this was a priority for the governor, which it seems like it is, that he could have convened the Orleans delegation. He could have talked to the judges. He could have talked to the clerks and figured out a path forward.
Yeah, which I mean, it's again like Landry being very like Trumpy. I mean, he's at least going through the legislative process, which Trump doesn't even bother with. But where like there's a way to do this that is slow and gets buy-in, and then there's a transition, or you can just be like, no, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna do it. And so of course they've gone with we're just gonna do it.
We're just gonna do it. Okay, so we're gonna listen to Senator Duplessis.
We know it's not about data. We know it's not about efficiency. We know it's not about better operations. It's about power, flexing on the city of New Orleans. And it's about reinforcing the same old tired tropes and stereotypes that the people of New Orleans are lazy, that the people of New Orleans are inefficient, that the people of New Orleans are corrupt, and we need someone from the outside to get New Orleans in line. I asked Senator Morris, I said, why are we singling out New Orleans? Y'all remember what he said? He said, because it's low-hanging fruit. You know, I had some time to process that. And low-hanging fruit had a connotation to many people back home that I represent. They thought about a song called Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. Strange Fruit, the song, was about the bodies of black men hanging from trees in the deep South. Now, some of y'all are sitting there saying, oh, man, why are you going there, Royce? Why are you making that connection? You know, Senator Morris had no intent to say that. That may have not been his intent, but I'm telling you the impact. If our method for governing and the way that we choose to file bills is just based upon low-hanging fruit, what's low-hanging fruit? Low-hanging fruit is easy. It's the path of least resistance. It means we're not going to put thought into it. We're not going to put any work into it. We're not going to put any effort into it. We're not going to talk to anybody. We're not going to have good answers when people ask us questions about it. It's just low-hanging fruit. It's easy. I'm going to do it because I can. How are we going to get good results like that? How are we going to move Louisiana from the bottom to the top like that? Just doing low-hanging fruit, doing what feels good. We're going to punch down. We're going to punch down on New Orleans. Yeah, because we got the votes to do it. I believe that this Senate is better than that. I believe we can do it better than this.
He made the exact same connection that in my mind was the immediate thing that I thought as well. And I appreciated that. And I appreciated that other people in New Orleans also made that connection.
Whether it's the words, there's an obvious race motive here. Like, so again, and back to like how the race started with, you know, people in New Orleans are lazy, people in New Orleans are inefficient, people in New Orleans are corrupt. Those are also racial tropes that are used to attack the city. I think you should just say it, man. I think you should just say what it really is. And obviously, the other part that like, to me, that was super obvious. You know, I hope that some of these senators from certain parts of the state understand that, like, that New Orleans is just 1st, right? Like, that's but to me, the low hanging fruit is like, we're doing the easiest thing first.
Yeah, but they coming for all
exactly.
the black districts.
Yes.
They coming for all the black districts.
I don't know who there voted for this. The obvious import of, like, you know, this isn't a specific problem that we think is just about New Orleans. We're just starting there.
When these bills left the Senate, anyway, 256 about the clerk of court went to House Judiciary. And I really want to encourage people to watch the hearing. I spent some time with it. There was so much. There was too much to kind of clip and put into this. But I really, really, really want to implore people to watch that entire committee hearing. And we'll put the link in the show notes. Because as we saw when these bills were in the Senate committee, any time that he's being questioned by the black representatives, he will not make eye contact.
No. Jay Morris we're talking about. Let's make it clear. Yes. Senator Jay Morris, yes.
He's doodling on the paper. He's completely disrespectful.
Wow.
But what's interesting about this hearing is that he's questioned first by Representative Kyle Green, again, the chair of
who is black,
the chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and then he's questioned by Representative Mandy Landry.
Is he more respectful to Mandy?
100%.
Interesting.
100%. He's locked in on her. He's answering her questions. And she's going at him hard.
Yeah, I mean that is actually very, very telling, because also Mandy is far, far more progressive than Kyle Green, right? So I mean, you know, I don't know a tally of how many things that Jay Morris and Kyle Green agree on versus Jay Morris and Mandy Landry, but they're going to be less with Mandy than they are with Kyle Green. Like, Kyle Green is like so moderate that I think he's barely a Democrat at times, just to be honest. So I think that makes it far the more telling.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, he's, you know, affords Representative Landry a level of respect that he refuses to afford any of the black folks.
Which I might have said that, like, okay, yeah, but he knows that she's a lawyer. Gary Carter is the lawyer. We saw exactly how he acted with him. I don't know if Kyle Green is a lawyer. I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
But Candace Newell is.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Senator Carter. So the things that
there's no excuse.
I can't we're controlled for similarities in political opinions and similarities in professional expertise. We've controlled those out.
So anyway, that bill got out of that committee. It's now passed both houses. Not a single member of the Orleans delegation voted for it. Not a single black member of our legislature voted for it.
In either house.
In either house. But I will say that here are the Republicans that did not vote for it, because I want to give them a shout.
That's right.
Yeah.
Representative Kathy Edmonston, who we make fun of. Kathy's not great.
She's hard to reach, but she has principles.
She got it. She understood what was happening here. Representative Barbara Freiberg.
Nice.
Representative Glorioso, and then Representative Stephanie Hilferty.
Not a lawyer, but has some independence. Also, she's basically New Orleans, so you know. I mean, her folks work in New Orleans.
That's right.
There's 4 in both chambers, for a total of 4. All right, well.
All right. So for this last part,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about who the fuck Jay Morris is.
Yeah, I hear you've done a little bit of a deep dive. You've been like thinking about, are we being too hard on him? I don't know him that well. I don't mean like as a human. I mean, I wouldn't know him that well as a human, period.
Yeah.
Like, just being a Republican senator from not New Orleans. He's not somebody that I would know personally. But, he's just not somebody who's been super on my radar. You're from Monroe. He's from Monroe, so he's been more on your radar.
He's been representing my grandmother. If credit is due to anyone in my life for how fucking liberal I am, it's kind of my grandmother.
I love it.
And
Shout out to Curly.
yeah,
Shout out. Shout out to Curly. That's right.
yeah.
He's been representing her for years, both as her state representative and now as her state senator.
My point just being, I don't have a sense, and maybe you already did, but you definitely do now, of like, what is this guy's record? Like, what is it that like what is his general jam? Like a lot of them, I know their jam. Like
Yeah.
I know the kinds of things that they're always doing,
Yeah.
whether it's somebody who we work with or somebody who we could never work with. Like I know their jam. I don't really know Jay Morris's jam. He's always kind of in with like the Landry administration and that. Like he's connected. He's doing like, the stuff that's like sort of being pushed from on high. He's a big water carrier.
He is a water carrier.
Of like, the like Republican administration. But other than that, I really don't have much of an impression.
Well, as our listeners will know, that I made the bold statement several times on the podcast a couple of weeks ago when we first started talking about these bills, that he's a fucking racist.
Yeah.
And so I spent this week basically validating that thesis. So I'm gonna do a little run.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Who the fuck Jay Morris is?
Yeah, because it did seem obvious in that hearing. But yeah, what's the data to support?
Okay, so 2019, he introduced a bill to repeal the authority of the Southside Economic District in Monroe to collect taxes that would support the development in the area of that town of Monroe, where the highest concentration of Black folks live. So
Was that supported locally? No, I bet. I mean,
it doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Like, to just like say, sorry, Southside Economic Development District, you can't collect taxes to develop this part of town. He was cock blocking
yeah.
economic development in the Black part of town. That's all we need to know about it. So then in 2023, he introduced a bill that would prohibit affirmative action
Okay.
in colleges and universities.
I love it when
Trying to get
they,
ahead of it.
yeah, I love it when they tried to do stuff that's like, just want to make sure that everybody knows how I stand. That's what that is.
That's what that is. So his agenda on pushing to limit the authority of New Orleans has been going on for a while. This session is not his first soiree into this.
He needs to be banned from the city. He should not be allowed to come here for events at all. I mean, he's got a vendetta against New Orleans. Well, maybe we've got a vendetta against him.
He did get a death threat, so I want to be careful about that. But I
am in favor of him being banned from New Orleans, which also would not be constitutional. But I'm just,
I'm okay. I'm
There's-
okay with a blockade.
yeah, exactly. And we're just talking about things that can't really be done, but should be. He should not be allowed to come to the city because I'm sure he does.
It sounds like he probably does not.
He's just a
be.
loser.
Well,
Just a huge loser. Doesn't ever come to New Orleans.
I mean,
Maybe he comes to New Orleans, but I mean, it sounds like he's like going to like Metairie, Mardi Gras. Like he does not want to be around Black people. In 2024, he filed Senate Bill 122. This was a constitutional amendment that would have weakened the district attorney's authority, which he said was needed to deal with the quote New Orleans situation.
It's 2022. That's from Jason Williams. And with Dobbs.
Yeah.
That same year, he introduced Senate Bill 423, which would have limited access to public records to Louisiana residents. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. In 2025, he introduced Senate Bill 15. This one would have criminalized local officials, including sheriffs and other law enforcement officers that failed to cooperate with federal immigration agencies. The penalties in his bill were
Death.
not quite, but 10 years in prison.
Oh, wow.
10 years in prison that you could face for not fully complying with ICE.
Well, so he has that other bill that I think is not moving, which was about removing people from office, right? Removing judges or DAs from office. I think that is not moving. Is they just want to be able to just kick people out of office, judges and DAs in particular, if they think that they're not following the law.
Yeah.
And yet the law being whatever, the Jeff Landry administration thinks that it should be.
The law should be.
Yes. Right. I mean, what the law is depends on the circumstances. Yeah.
So last year when he wanted to throw basically Jason Williams in jail for
10 years, it sounds like.
for 10 years for
That was last year.
not like bending over and taking it up the ass by ICE.
That's also going to be Susan Hudson. It's going to be tons of people, like a lot of, in local communities. Yes.
Officials,
Yes.
including
Yes.
law enforcement.
Yeah.
Well, and the one in 2022 was about people like Jason saying that they weren't going to prosecute people for, abortion crimes.
Right.
So I mean, this doesn't surprise you with all this assholery, like them being pissed off about what people aren't going to prosecute and what they are going to prosecute. Like it's like widely understood that prosecutors have discretion in what their office goes after and what their office doesn't. Sometimes they announce that, sometimes they don't. When they announce it, it's because they want their constituents to know what their priorities are. They don't have to do shit anyway. Like they don't have to announce it. They prioritize what they prioritize.
Yes.
So, they can get voted out the next time if they're not prioritizing the right
People are
things.
upset.
Yes. It's not
No,
for
well,
the
I mean-
governor or somebody else to decide.
Jay Morris obviously could give a shit what the voters in New Orleans think. Like if he thinks they should
Obviously.
be
Yes.
thrown in jail for 10 years, then that's
Well, yeah. I mean, all of this is about, if you're not doing what we think, if you're not doing what you think we should be doing, then we can remove you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, last year he also introduced Senate Bill 8, which would have given him and the Republican controlled legislature, not the Civil Service Commission, the power to remove civil service classification for state employees. So I bring that up because there are a lot, our civil service employees in the state
Are heavily black. I mean, there's for sure that's true in New Orleans. I'm sure that's true in Baton. I mean, it may be true everywhere.
It's probably true in most places because they're good jobs.
That's right.
They're, they have pensions.
They're reliable jobs.
Yeah, they're reliable jobs.
Until you get the Trump administration and these kind of assholes in
Exactly.
place to get rid of those.
That's exactly. And there are also people that are like deeply embedded in the community.
Yeah.
And civil service jobs are like to serve that community, right?
Yeah.
Like they need to know what's going on in the community. They need to have connections. Like they need to know like what social services are available to the people that they're serving. That is why they get those jobs. They're highly, highly qualified. It is hard to get a civil service job.
So it's also just there's a lot of reading between the lines here, but it is deeply racist in your thesis.
Cute.
Well, so I mean, with the civil service part, because civil service protection, I think, is extremely important.
Yes.
Like undoubtedly. It does, of course, also, it's like tenure. There is like a flip side where it's like, then it makes it hard to fire people who aren't doing a great job. And like, is everybody doing a great job that has tenure or that has civil service protection? No, they're not. Not everybody is.
Right.
But like the narrative about that is very race based though, that like cities like New Orleans. And so but going back, I guess, like, should there be some reforms on things? I don't know, maybe. Like, is there like a way to thread a needle where like we don't have a system where like, you just can like be bad at your job once you get to a certain point and there's very little that anyone can do about it? Maybe. These are never like intended to be like nuanced or going at a particular problem. But like back to what Royce was saying with like New Orleans and the like being lazy, being slow, being inefficient. That's all like a race-based stereotype.
True,
This
yeah.
is and just a stereotype that he has in his mind about who's in civil service in New Orleans and how slow and ineffective they are. And so we need to just get rid of that.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Well,
That's
I mean,
there. There is zero doubt that like if you're in this context, if you're saying we need to get rid of like on the Trump administration level when they're doing that, it's to try to get rid of anyone who doesn't agree with them.
right.
So that's obvious, but that's what the intent is. With this, it's trying to get rid of Black people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Both things, there's a clear intent.
Yes.
Where you're coming from it.
Yes.
That bill didn't pass, but I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that if that had passed, then the next step would have been the legislature just removing civil service classification for anybody who was employed in Black parts of the state, like be it New Orleans.
I don't know if
Baton
they could
Rouge.
do that, but
Why not?
although, well, I mean, you just might have to do it everywhere, which they might be fine with that too.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sure we can find more, and believe me, listeners, I will keep digging.
Well, I think it's interesting too because this is part of why he wasn't super on our radar. Is that it's mostly coded, you know, like, and particularly when you add it all up, it's very obvious,
Yeah.
and even individually, like as we've been discussing, like it's not hard to figure out what the coding is. But he's smart enough that he's not like, you know, I mean, some of these people, the stuff that they're doing, it's just like, I mean, it's just so, I mean, like Cruz with like the getting rid of training for sexual harassment. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't take like a genius to be like, it sounds like you don't think sexual harassment's a really big issue. You don't really care about that. Like, this is the more coded
He has to
version
endure
of
it,
that.
Well, I mean, the other thing that I just want to point out is that there is some cherry picking here, but not cherry picking.
You mean it's not, he has introduced other bills.
He
Obviously.
has,
Yeah.
but not a lot.
And were
So-
they, okay.
Like, it's not a situation in which he, you know, each year that he has the capacity to introduce 20 bills,
Right.
and I'm picking one.
Yeah.
Like, he is not introducing a lot of legislation.
That's actually interesting too.
He's not. He is introducing very, very, very targeted stuff. A lot of it has to do with legal stuff
Mhm.
and racist stuff.
Hmm.
Like, you know, so even in sessions where they could introduce 70 fucking bills if they want to, and some of them do that, he's introducing 4, and at least one of them almost every session for at least the last, 6 years is very, very, very intentionally like
Should be like,
yeah,
huh.
like directed at New Orleans or directed at
Black people.
Black people
Yeah.
specifically, you know?
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it just goes without saying, but just to point out, clearly it's not that, like, then for whatever misguided reason, there's these bills, but the other 3 of those 4 years have been just like great ones that would never make somebody think that this person is not a champion of equity and, you know.
No, 100% not. So anyway, this is my evidence to freaking my thesis that Jay Morris is a fucking racist. And I don't know what we need to do to get him out of office, but like everybody in Louisiana and especially in Monroe that needs to be their priority.
These folks, they run unopposed, particularly after they've already been elected, or they run with like a not credible candidate opposing them.
They're all up for re-election in 2017, so we have time.
2027.
2027.
I'm also always doing them like we can't be in the 2020s. All right, so he's up for all senators are up in 2027.
The entire legislature.
Hopefully, people are already thinking about that. But yeah, let's get Democrats and any reasonable Republican also.
Any reasonable Republican.
We're always looking for reasonable Republicans, folks.
I will personally work for your campaign if you decide to run against Jay Morris. I do not think anybody should make threats on his life or the life of his family. That is not the way to go. But we need to defeat him. He is a terrible human being, as evidenced by what he has done, not just this session, but previous.
No, that's like maybe his raison d'etre from being in government. So we want to give people a little tip though about that what we're gonna do a session on or do an episode on. Not next one, but like soon, probably in the off season, is a whole deep dive on Representative Amity.
Amity is living in a cult.
I mean, it seems like
it is clear she is in a cult, and her constituents are begging her to bring legislation that would allow them to beat their children and beat their wives.
and allow their children to die even if they have cancer. There's again, she's somebody with a long record of like wild stuff. You're like, what's going on?
I've been building my case against Amity, so
Yeah.
we'll have that for you soon.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a whole episode on what's going on with rap comedy. I am interested with some of them about like how did you get here? How did you get to become this person?
I know. I've been thinking about Cruz a lot. I think my hesitation in doing an entire episode on Cruz is that I want to be mindful and sympathetic to our listeners, and I just don't want to have to expose them to an entire episode of his smug fucking bullshit.
I feel differently about that.
Okay.
Let us know what you guys think.
In the comments,
Yeah.
let us. Do you want to know a deep dive on Cruz?
I mean, we haven't done it yet, so we don't know. So let us know if there's an appetite for a deep dive on Cruz or not. But I think there probably is. How did these troubled people become who they are? And how can we prevent that going forward?
Ellie, these people are insane.
They're troubled. They're very troubled. Like they've got trauma in their past. They've got, misguided teachings in their past. I'm not trying to let them off the hook at all. Not in the slightest. But I am interested with some of them about like what is motivating? How did you become this horrible person? Anyhow,
That's going to do it for this week. Tell the people what they're supposed to do, Ellie.
rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
And send us your comments on anything that you have been following because we told you to. And if you have any insight into Morris for Amity or
Cruz, yeah.
send an email info@liftlouisiana.org. We'll put it in the show notes. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Seriously is presented by Lift Louisiana, a nonprofit organization advocating for reproductive health rights and justice.